Hi, this is Miss Lancaster again, and I'm just going to give you a quick run through some information about Chapter 3. First off, I want to kind of share this image. Privilege is when you think something is not a problem because it's not a problem to you personally. I really want us to kind of step back and kind of understand what privilege is, because privilege exists in multiple levels. Intersectionality is something that you really have to step back and kind of discuss and think about when you're in a social problems class, because we have lots of different statuses. We have lots of different things that can impact our life choices and our life opportunities, right? Our life chances. Chapter 2 was really about income inequality, and in that we have individuals who have class privilege and we have individuals who don't have class privilege, right? So we have to kind of understand how our choices are made based on that. Now we're moving into the race chapter, right? Race and ethnicity. Race and ethnicity are going to potentially give some opportunities to some individuals, but not to others. So this is where we'll oftentimes hear the concept white privilege more often than anything else that we ever hear when we hear about privilege. But what I want us to step back is and think about, and like a lot of times people get defensive about this concept of white privilege because you don't ask to be white, you don't ask to be brown, right? You don't ask to be Hispanic or not Hispanic. When we talk about race and ethnicity, these are not things that we've done anything to either have or not have, right? These are ascribed characteristics. Just like in last chapter, you don't get to choose who your parents are, right? What social class you get born into. So privilege is something, though, that can benefit us if we happen to be born into the right group, right? Even though we don't always recognize it, right? So privilege is an unearned advantage, right? Always unearned. Remember that when thinking about these chapters. Don't let your privilege get in the way of helping you understand the disadvantages that others suffer in our social world. And that's why I share this image. Privilege is when you think something's not a problem because it's not a problem to you personally. This is where empathy comes in, okay? So this chapter is about race, it's about ethnicity, and the opportunities and life chances and how they are impacted based on this, okay? So what is race? What is ethnicity? These are both socially constructed ideas. Society created them, society gave meaning to them, and because of that, they impact us in our day-to-day lives, okay? Make sure that you understand what race is and what ethnicity is. They're different, but they have a lot of similarities, right? Race has to do with our biological, or really it's our perceived biological differences, right? There's very, very, very little real difference amongst us, right? Genetically, it is very, very, very minute, okay? Ethnicity is really cultural in nature. Where did we come from? Where did our ancestors come from? Me as a white woman, my ancestry is German, right? But nobody asks me, right? Why? Because I'm part of the dominant group in society, okay? We have to step back and kind of think about this. In this chapter, we'll be learning about racial disparities and racial disparities in the social problems that exist in relationship to them. One of the concepts that will be discussed in this chapter that's kind of touchy is immigration. Why is it touchy? I don't know. We are a land of immigrants. So again, we need to step back and kind of think about time, place, and situation using our sociological imagination to kind of recognize and realize that our differences really are not as big as we think they are. Go through them, review it, watch the videos that I'm sharing. One thing, when we talk about racism, because that's going to be a big one that's in here, remember that racism is not a micro level thing. Racism is a macro level thing. Those micro level actions that take place are deeply rooted in the systemic issue of accepting that we can treat people differently. Racism is deeply embedded in our society, and it is shaped by the stereotypes that we allow ourselves to believe, and we have been taught all throughout our lives that then shape our prejudicial ideas, which are just beliefs that we hold down deep. And prejudice, it's something that helps us to kind of give some sort of expectation of how we think things are going to be. But then that's where discrimination comes in. Discrimination is the actions that take place, the actions that we allow ourselves to do. We can have individual discrimination. We can have institutional level discrimination. Both of these are deeply rooted in a systemic system that creates these issues. Today in our society, we are seeing a huge culture war going on as a result of the fight back in relationship to our systemic problem with racial issues, right? There is a system that is deeply embedded in our society that has created a mindset, even if we don't realize it, we may be seeing ourselves as superior, others inferior, just because of the stereotypes and the prejudicial beliefs that we have, which create an implicit bias. Okay, watch that. Pay attention to that. Think about that while you're going through this chapter. I'm sharing some videos. Please watch them. Please read through them. Your issues and controversies this week has to do with immigration rather than race, okay? Immigration, I'm trying to touch on both sides. There's a whole bunch going on in our society today. Please let me know if you have questions. Remember that I'm always available to meet with you on one-on-one using Teams. And I hope that you all have a really great day. All right.